What is going on, guys? This is your boy HQ420 here, welcoming y'all back. Another episode, Showtime with the Cube. I have got my co-host with me, as always, the powerful Corey Hughes. Corey, tonight, how are you doing? Muted. That's the first thing.
I'm trying to mute regularly because too many people complain about my vaping while I'm broadcasting. And normally I would say just fuck off, but I figured I'd be polite about it and actually start to mute myself. So
there we go.
Fuck off, and I'm going to mute myself. So
I try to do that when I'm coughing or if I'm taking a sip of drink. I just try to put the fans out there. You know what I'm saying? With the fans.
Other than that, I'm doing fantastic tonight.
This is a fan-friendly show. There's no doubt about it. Now, if it's your first time here, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you listen to us on podcast platform, hit the follow button. I'm not sure why you haven't yet. And we appreciate everybody who's been checking us out so far. Tonight, Corey, we have one that's a little bit different, okay? A little bit different.
I like to call it a breath of fresh air.
Violent Night. This movie came out December 2nd, so it is a couple weeks old. I actually went to the theaters myself to watch it last Friday, and I was like, when I went to the theaters, I was like, all right, there's not going to be anybody there. Now, of course, they had it in one of the smaller theaters as far as the seating, but the capacity was actually full, and I was like, oh, okay, so some people are interested in this particular movie. Which kind of surprised me a little bit. This is off the beaten path of what we've gotten over the past 10 years as far as movie blockbuster. I say this is something a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different for the modern era, I'll say, because when we were growing up, there were a ton of movies in the 80s that were like this, that were simple. The plot was not complicated. It didn't have a twist ending. It was there to do one thing and entertain you in a kind of ironic manner. And so that was it. And this is one of them films that you can't take too seriously. But honestly, I think they picked the perfect guy to play Santa. So who is it that played Santa? And let's go through his background a little bit.
Oh yeah,
he's one of those guys I've seen in a million
David
things.
Harbour.
And yes, he's one of those guys you see in all kinds of stuff and you don't know his name. You know, like most Hollywood actors, you see in all kinds of things, you never know who they are. I thought he was fantastic. What else has he done?
Well, right here, most recently, what he's done the Black Widow movie. He was the Red Guardian in the Black Widow. And then he's also been a staple in Stranger Things since 2016. Right. I believe I haven't watched Stranger Things myself. Is he the sheriff? I think, is that right?
I only watched the first season, and then I gave up on it. I didn't watch anything after season 1.
He was also in 2019. He was Hellboy. So he took over that one from Ron Perlman. Oh, wasn't it Ron Perlman that was the original Hellboy? Yeah, yep. So he took over for that. Let's see what else we had him in. I think he was a bad cop in Sleepless, if I'm correct. That's 2017. Let's see if anything else. He was in The Equalizer as Masters. So he's been in some movies over the past 6 years. It seems like about 6 years ago was his running thing. Looks like he was in a couple of episodes of Law and Order: Criminal Intent. So he didn't have a ton of big roles. It seems like he's one of those actors that has recently busted on the scene, probably over the past 6 years, to get some of his bigger roles. But I believe it was a perfect casting for Santa Claus in this movie.
He was fantastic. The way he held himself, his attitude, it was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, as far as the characters and everything of this story. Even though the plot is simple, it does give you a little bit of indication on what's going on in their lives. You have your main antagonist, which is Scrooge. Now, these people that have broke into the mansion, the Lightstone Mansion, all of them go by code names, and all of them have to do with Christmas. So I liked how they remained around that theme of Christmas, even with the actual code names that they have for the villains. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I thought the banter sometimes back and forth between John Leguizamo and his crew was pretty humorous. It was damn funny.
Oh yeah, there ain't no doubt about it. It's like Gingerbread reporting in. It's like, how long have we got to use these damn names? So we're going to have to use these all night. And my man's like, yes, that's what we're going to have to do. so we're going to give you a simplistic overview right now of what it is. All right. So the Lightstones are rich, okay, and you've got the bad guy, the villain, Scrooge, who wants to steal their money. That's it. That's the plot line. Santa happens to be there. All right. He happens to be there. He happens to be delivering presents, and he gets caught up in it. And guys, that is your plot line of this movie. There's nothing else crazy going on, which was, like you said, Corey, a breath of fresh air. We give a simple story, give us the action, you give us all the fighting, you give us the gruesome deaths. And at the end of the day, you leave the movie theater and you're like, hour, 40 minutes later, you're like, that was pretty good. You know?
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
I'm starting to realize, like, when you grow up and you see a lot of the same type of movies, like a lot like this throughout the 80s, you're kind of like, I want something different. I want something big. I want something exciting. And you want those big blockbuster films. And then after you've seen like 18 freaking Marvel movies that were so bad in a row, you're just like, oh my God, I was wrong. I don't need complicated, big. I don't need to save the universe every time. And then I realized, it always goes back to the classical themes, from literature that we learned in high school. And so just applying those simple concepts that we learned way back when, you can come up with a great movie with, like, I'm so glad they did this in this was confined in one house, right?
Yep.
They didn't try to make a big deal of it.
For the most part, yeah.
Right. It wasn't like some super duper bank heist and Santa got caught up in it and there's cops everywhere. And like, they just kept it simple, a small cast. The budget was probably $20 million for the whole freaking movie. Do you happen to have the opening weekend numbers or any of the stats for it?
Let's see. Hold on, let's see. Opening weekend for Violent Night. Let's see what it was. Violent Night. I know right here. Let's see. So it was projected to gross around $10 million from the 3,200 theaters in its opening weekend.
That's not horrible, but it's not great.
11. That says Violent Night opening can't top Wakanda. Well, of course, it's not going to top that. 11.8 million is what this one Variety has it at. So 11.8 million. Then another one has it December 5th, says 13.3 million. So I'll say around anywhere between 13 to 15 million.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
The first weekend, which I'm gonna be honest with you, for this particular film, this is not something that's been ran as far as commercials on TV a whole lot. So, with it not being a blockbuster, you've got known names, but you don't have, as far as like, a Marvel, a DC, a Tom Cruise, something like that attached to it. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, I would much rather see studios come out with a lot more films that they can make in the like $25 to $50 million range that they can pull $100 million and be happy with. Something they can knock out in like 90 days and then like 6 months of post production and boom, you're done, right? Like, I think people are just burned out on what we've been getting. We're burned out on the culture issues that they keep throwing in our fucking faces. We just want to go back to the basics, and I think it would be in all studios' best interest to do so. And they could probably make a lot of money if they did more films on a lower budget that were anticipated to do because this movie at the end of the day, it'll probably do $100 million between all the theater over the next, like, it'll be out till February. It'll be in theaters till like the end of January, right? At least. And so it'll probably make a total of 25 million in the theaters, and it'll probably make a ton more money once it goes to Netflix or wherever it's going to go after that. Because I mean, they cut them a deal. They say, okay, we'll give you $50 million and we'll put it on Netflix for 6 months. And they made their money. So they're not going to have any problem making their money back. And it was a great ride from start to finish.
Right.
To me, it ranks up there now with Krampus as one of the best Christmas movies of all time.
Krampus. Which, be on the lookout. We're going to do Krampus before the holiday season. We're going to have a Krampus review coming out. So what we're going to do now, Corey, we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump into the plot line. We're going to go across this, and the actual film. It starts out with our, I guess, quote unquote, protagonist of this particular film, which, of course, is Santa Claus. But you also got the young lady, Trudy Lightstone. Now, she is the daughter of Jason Lightstone and Linda. Now, that's a mixed relation couple right there. But Jason Lightstone, he almost looks like he's a little Spaniard. You know what I'm saying? Then I seen his mom, and I was like, okay, maybe his dad had a little Spaniard to him. You know what I'm saying? His real name in real life is Alex Hassel, but that's Jason Lightstone. So it gives you a little bit of a start there because the actual mom and dad, they seem at this point in time to be separated or in the midst of a separation. Okay, and that's one of the themes that's going to come back later on. But we also we transfer over and we see a great scene. The Santa Claus sitting there drinking beer. He's sitting there getting drunk. He's getting hammered drunk, and then he has another Santa Claus come up and he's like, hey, man, you just get off. So I'm kind of between shifts. It's just funny. It's just like that banter in between them because they're just like, I don't do what? Is she getting drunk and going back to work? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that opening scene right there? Given because that gives a little background of what Santa's thinking at that point in time.
Yeah, it's really funny because you got a bunch of fake Santas sitting with the real Santa, and he's talking like big picture wise, and they're talking like, "Oh, I just got off my shift."
Yeah.
But you can tell that the weight of the world is on his shoulders. And that he's just not happy with his current lot in life.
Yeah. Because and he kind of alludes to that. It's like, well, the world it just want the next thing. You know what I'm saying? They get something, and then 5 seconds later, it's like, well, what's coming out next? I want that thing. So it's just like they just want the next thing, and I don't feel like they're celebrating the holiday properly. Now they try to give you. And we'll get this a little bit later on, but I'm going to try to give you a little background lore on Santa Claus, but they kind of leave that open ended for you to just imagine how this happened. But at that point in time, after he has the conversation with the guy at the bar, the guy at the bar said, "Hey man, I paid for his drinks." He said, "Thank you." Man gets up and leaves and goes to the roof. And his reindeer stuff up there. The bartender's like, "Hey, you think you going to the roof? This dude is pissed drunk." You know what I'm saying? This dude is smashed hammered. He going up to the roof, and then she sees him flying away, and then classic movie trope. Man throws up right on her after he's drunk. Throws up right in her face. I was like, man, it's classic, dude. You just like somebody been drinking, and then somebody comes to check on you. Yeah, just. Isn't that the way it usually is in real life too, though? Yeah,
it sure is. But I thought that was great, and I thought when the bartender went up to the roof and saw Santa taking off, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, and throughout this movie, people want to suspend their belief as far as Santa, and like he just keeps doing stuff that's just like, well, that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? So, this don't seem like a regular dude. So the premise from there, we follow Trudy, which is the daughter, Linda and Jason, which is the mother and father, to the Lighthouse Estate, the mansion, okay? And that's where his mother resides, Gertrude, all right? Gertrude. Now, it doesn't really get too far into what their business is, but the business does seem to have some nefarious ties, okay? It does seem to have some nefarious ties.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Yeah, because it's just like, his mom's got a kill squad. You know what I'm saying? his mom's got a kill squad. Which comes back to home.
If you got a couple $100 million and up, you got some shady shit going on in your fucking history. So that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and
there are some skeletons.
And once again, I like it. They don't really give you the full details. They just kind of hint at it, and you just kind of have to. Okay, you just think about, well, what exactly were they doing? But they don't dive fully into that. It's like, that's not what this movie's about,
right.
Exploring that background. But it does give you some dynamics in between the characters and give you some character progression as you go along in the movie. Now, at that point in time, whenever they get to the actual estate, you've got people in there. They've got catering. And I thought they were having like a big party. And it was just like, it's just a family. You know what I'm saying? It's just
right.
So you got Trudy, Linda, and Jason, and then you've got Morgan, who is Alva Lightstones, which is Jason's sister. That's her love interest. You've got Gertrude, and then you've got Bert, which is Alva's son. So it ain't like there's 40 people there. They got that thing decked out, bud. So this seemed like a tradition as far as getting people in there.
I think that's what rich people do.
Oh, do you? You think that's what they do?
I think that's just what they do.
Do you think we could poll some rich people? I don't think they will respond. Can I put a Twitter poll up? That's what we want to. Oh, I put a Twitter poll. Hey, rich people, if you make over $2 million a year, can you tell me what your tradition is for your family holidays? Now, they probably got all kind of folk. A lot of times that comes from your wife's side. I've seen that the males tend to not want to invite a bunch of people. Women usually want to invite the world. It's just like, oh well, it was a friend that I had from high school. It's like, honey, you ain't seen her in 15 years. Don't invite her to this damn party. Be inviting folk they ain't seen. Folk don't even like you. You know what I'm saying? And this whole status thing. But unbeknownst to them, the people that they have doing the catering is actually the people who are infiltrating and trying to steal their money. Now, how they got this intel, we still don't quite know. Because Scrooge had but he had everything down to a T. So I'm still not exactly sure who gave up the intel per se to actually get them in there. Because
and I don't think it's really necessarily crucial to the plot. He's the criminal mastermind, and he just knows, and he figured it out. So I think how we figured it out really doesn't affect the plot at all.
Mm-hmm. And that's fair enough. As we said in this, very simplistic, very simplistic. So as we proceed, obviously Gertrude is somebody that the entire family is scared of. Okay, as we've seen, it's like, oh, she's coming, and Alva and Bert and Morgan, they all get up and like stand up front, and it's just like, we got to greet her right here. And so it seems like she rules with an iron thumb at that point in time. She's actually on the phone with a senator talking shit to him at that point in time. So that goes back into further into, hey, she's probably, they got a lot of shady dealings to make all the money they've made. It's just all there is to it. So in some ways you're like, well, this kind of stuff, these kind of people have this type of stuff coming to them in a way, when they start dealing in those particular things. Now, it seems like Jason is an integral part of the business, and from what we get throughout the storyline is that him always going to help Gertrude, his mother, with the business was putting a strain on him and Linda's relationship. And so that's what has caused them to split ways. You know, she hit him with the classic "I'm not happy," even though, you know, she got millions of dollars. Honey,
Right.
I'm working. Honey, I'm working. I mean, I got to work. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm not happy. You're not here. You know, the same tropes, man. It's the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? But then, but I'm going to tell you right now, be broke. Go ahead and be broke. She won't be there still. She's gonna need your ass anyway. So we get that dynamic right there, and that seems to be the issue that they're having. Not so much their love, but the fact that he's not there a lot. He's always working. Okay, so we get that now. The Alva, she just seems like a kind of like a suck up. She wants to take over the family business. That's the sister. Bert, he's I guess you could say an influencer. He's up there. He's got chain time and all that stuff. So, and then Morgan is actually an actor, and he just seems to be, now he's banging Alva, but he seems to be there just to pitch an idea to Gertrude as far as a movie, so he can get funding. So, so a lot of people there are just there to, cash in. All right, so. At that point in time, that's when all hell breaks loose. And Scrooge comes and he shoots the guard at the front of the estate. And then the rest of the people who are doing the catering start to take over. And at that point in time, Corey, it's a bloodbath. You know what I'm saying? The guardsmen, they ain't put down one person. I said, damn, y'all. What kind of training y'all got? Y'all ain't get one guy. I mean, all of them got deleted right out. They got deleted right out real quick. I was like, Corey, bud. I mean, not one henchman could have got dropped.
Well,
I needed one.
They had to clear the way. You know, they had to make the family helpless. They had to get them cornered, and so, it's another one of those things where we're just supposed to look at and shake our head and be like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's fair enough, but can I get one henchman get shot? I mean, just one henchman. That's all I'm saying. Hey, look.
Even like in the shoulder or something.
Yeah, just one henchman. You know what I'm saying? This is a shootout, all right? So I want one henchman, but no, none of the henchmen get shot. Now, we have some of the classic tropes there. You've, of course, got the leader who was Scrooge. He's got the charisma. He's got the smarts. He's ruthless. And then you've got the henchman in the back. But then, of course, you have the one psychopath, which was the guy who was dressed up like the elf. He was the true psychopath of the group. And so what you come to find out is that some shady dealings with arms, as far as weaponry, had taken place with Gertrude, and she had accrued $300 million.
Yes,
which she had put in a safe below.
Yes.
Now,
she's smart. I wouldn't trust the banks either. I put that shit in my mattress before putting it in a bank.
But you gonna have a big mattress. It ain't that king size. You gonna need more than that. It's like, man, this mattress is a little lumpy. It's like, yeah, I got 300 million in it. It's like, I don't do what? I got 300 million in it. It's a man, stop playing, man. You just got a bad mattress. No, I don't trust the bank. So all my money's right here in the mattress. So yeah, so that comes to fruition. That's what we find out the bad guys are here after. All right, Scrooge is here to cash in. He's here to get what his just due. All right, his just due. And come to find out, this theme around Christmas continues to proceed. Scrooge's whole premise is that, some of his hardships and stuff came around Christmas time. Some of the reason why he hates the world is because of his upbringing and how he had bad Christmases. So that all comes to fruition as you see throughout this movie. Now, Santa comes to this particular house. All right, this mansion, the Lightstone Mansion, and he's here just to deliver a present. All right, deliver a present to Trudy, and that's when the first fight breaks out. Now, at that point in time, you're sitting there thinking, you're like, which it ends up telling you, but you're like, hold on a second, okay, how does Santa know how to fight? You know what I'm saying? How does Santa know how to scrap? That's what we're trying to figure out here, because you get the first confrontation with one of the henchmen, which he ends up killing by throwing over a ledge, and they fall through a ice spike. But you actually find out that Santa was once almost like a warlord.
Yes, like he was some like Nordic warrior.
Yeah, and it's just like, hold on a second. And my man had, and his weapon of choice is a hammer. All right, and you actually see him in a flashback to that, and you actually see blood coming off the hammer. So it's like, oh yeah, I'd swing it one time and I'd take all the heads off. You know what I'm saying? I take 3 heads off with one swing. It's a damn. So that gets you thinking. It's like, okay, well, how did he transpire into this? And you really don't get any answers to those questions. And he even says throughout the movie, he says, I don't know how this shit works. He's just kind of like, it's like, yeah,
almost like he fell into the position.
Yeah. So like he's got the bag. You reach your hand in, you pull out a present, and it's like, man, how's it doing that? He said, Christmas magic. I don't know. I don't know. I just reach my hand in the bag and a present comes out. I don't know how this shit works, man. So I got no clue. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here. I'm just kind of doing it. And so it seems like he's been doing it so long that he might have forgot how the shit actually works. You know what I'm saying? He might have drunk himself into oblivion. And you also think, because he has one moment where he says he wished he could see Mistress Claus again. So that makes you think that maybe she has passed.
Yes,
and that might be the impression I got, and that might be part of his quote unquote depressive state as well. So we see that particular. You have your first fight with Santa. He wasn't really expecting it. He wasn't really wanting to do it, and so he was getting roughed up a little bit during that time. But he does end up coming out victorious, and the body is actually found a little bit later on. And so they're like, okay, who's here? You know what I'm saying? Who's here? And then they see on the footage a Santa Claus. They're like, did y'all hire a Santa? They're like, no. Did y'all hire a Santa? No. And it's like, all right, y'all are lying. Y'all hired a Santa. And not only did y'all hire a Santa, y'all hired a Santa that knew how to fight. I mean, what's the likelihood of that? I think people have been, hell, I was at a mall just a couple of weeks ago, and I seen the Santa sitting there, with the kid on his lap, and I was just like, that Santa ain't scrapping, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely not.
He said that particular Santa ain't scrapping. So from there, Trudy has actually received, and she received this earlier from her parents, mainly from her dad, Jason, a walkie-talkie. And he had gave her the walkie-talkie because he forgot to take her to see Santa. He had forgot that, which gets back into the tension as far as between his marriage and between him and Linda. Now, with that, she's actually able to communicate with Santa because he happens to go into an area where the other walkie-talkie is at. And so she starts to communicate with him. And at that point in time, he gets in another fight with this dude's like a straight badass. You know what I'm saying? This dude gets, stabbed in the jaw, stabbed in the side, and he's still coming after Santa. I said, damn, this dude's like the Terminator. But if y'all remember from the trailer where Santa actually stabs the guy in the eye with the star, and then and then plugs into the light switch, that's that moment in time, and that's when he actually makes his first contact with Trudy. Now, at this point in time, Santa has a dilemma on his hand because he's just trying to get out of there. That's his first intention. What do you think about that, Corey, as far as that goes?
Oh, yeah, he was trying to get out. He didn't recognize the gravity of the situation, I don't think, at first. And so, but it eventually dawns on what's going on.
Yeah, and at that point in time, because when he got in his initial fight and the guy shot into the roof, his reindeer actually took off. So he doesn't have his reindeer. The sleigh's gone. Yeah, his reindeer take off, and he's just cussing him. And it almost seems like his Christmas magic has left him, because he taps his nose, and that's what makes him go back up in the chimney, but he's not able to do it. So at that point in time, it seems like his Christmas magic, quote unquote, has left him, and it kind of makes you wonder if he garners more strength, the more people believe in him. That's what it kind of seems like to me. Maybe that is his actual life force, is the kids and everything believing in him. What do you think about that, Corey?
That's a possibility, and I think that kind of theme has shown up in other Santa related films in the past. Mm-hmm. They didn't really directly address it. Only at most maybe implied.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we're kind of referring that because it's kind of how I picked up on it at the end of the movie. Scrooge, they already know how to get into the safe. Gertrude's like, hey, I got these key codes, and it's going to take you weeks to crack it. It says, shit, I'm already in there. She's like, damn it. Now, when they open the safe up, the safe's empty, bone dry. And I was like, hold on a second. So at that point in time, I started to think, I'm like, all right, did she know that she was about to get robbed? Or, did she have some previous intel on something? That kind of threw me off. What you think at that point in time in the movie when that happened right there?
Well, I wasn't expecting it. That was the twist I wasn't expecting. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they'd get into the safe. I thought that would be the whole thing. They try to get in, Santa stop them, and that's that.
Oh, okay.
But that's not how it went.
Oh, so you never thought they were going to get into the safe?
Right.
Yeah, they cracked that code real quick, because everything they did was computerized, and the guy actually made a inference about it. He's like, man, I remember the old days where we just needed a drill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drill a hole in this, and we already be done with this. We'd be at the house already. But when they pop open the safe and look in there, there ain't shit in there. All right. And at that point in time, Gertrude had been talking to Scrooge like, hey, you're dead, right? Because the kill squad is coming for us. Okay, it's coming here. She's got a kill squad. Now, unbeknownst to her, that Scrooge had already made a deal with the kill squad. It's like, damn, this dude on top
he thought
of everything. Dude, I mean, he on top of everything, both the kill squad. And I knew something was up whenever I first saw him. I was like, hold on a second now. I said, I don't think these guys are coming to help. And and the one guy, Morgan, who is Alva's boyfriend, of course, he did all his shenanigans out there. He looked like he was doing some white shenanigans when he was trying to fight. That's what that looked like. And he busted out the window. It's like, oh, he's going to help. And it's like, nah, I think he's just saving himself. Just come running off. And he ran right up to the kill squad, and he got laid out. I mean, he got about 20 rounds in the chest. I said, when he walked up to him, I was like, I think this dude's about to die. And lo and behold, he did die. He got all the bullets. Now, what I did like is that they used something earlier in the movie when Trudy was in the vehicle before the events actually took place, where she talked about she watched Home Alone. And they used that later on in the film. They actually had callbacks to the Home Alone film in this movie. What you think about that iteration?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, and I mean it was actually well done. With the traps, and it's always with the trap like, oh, you think that's gonna get me, and then you step over and you step like on a nail. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you think this wire is gonna get me? I'm not that stupid. You step right over and you step right on the nail. It's like, damn. Or it'd be like the woman, she stepped right into the sticky stuff. But they find out where Trudy's at, and she has set up multiple traps, all callbacks to Home Alone. You've got the classic nail on the ladder. You've got also the classic where one of the ladder pieces is cut. And actually, the guy, it was pretty funny during that time. He's like, "You're not going to get me with this nail. Are you serious?" And he steps on the damn cut piece of wood and jabs him right up through the chin. I said, "Damn, bro." And then at that point in time, Trudy has bowling balls. And of course, you knew when the guy picked up the nail and put it right in his skull, you knew a bowling ball was going to come down and hit that nail and take him right out, which it did. You also had the classic, the ornaments on the ground where they would step on them with bare feet. If you remember, when, God, I can't remember the people's names. Harry and, is it Al? Harry and Al?
The burglars?
Home Alone? Yeah.
The wet burglars?
Yeah, yeah, you know. Sticky fingers.
Well, remember, because those idiots, they wanted to leave a signature, so they left a sink on at all the fucking houses. And so when they got busted, it was like, yeah, now we know all the houses you've been at.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you dumbass. Yeah, but when they step over and they get the sticky stuff on his shoes, so he takes his shoes off and he steps on the ornaments. They did that same trope here. So you got multiple tropes with that. Now, at that point in time, Santa has regained his strength and he's like, all right, now's the time. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to kick some ass now. And lo and behold, you see the light shine down upon the sledgehammer, which is his weapon of choice. You see him back when he's a Nordic warrior, and the hammer was his weapon of choice. And then from there, you just get some good old gory action, Corey. What'd you think about the action sequences?
Oh, the action sequences were killer. Just there's something about Santa just fucking everybody up. That's just awesome. Because I think because it's such a break from the character and what the character's supposed to be, you know?
Right. A total break. And he actually has a naughty and nice list. So when he opens it, I guess if you're nearby, he'll see you on the list. That's what it kind of seems like.
That's exactly what it was.
So if you're nearby, you'll pop up on the list, and you're the pop up on the naughty or nice. So he actually knows how many people are there, and he knows their names. And he actually goes through because they actually called him right before this, and he escapes by thumbing his nose, and he goes up the chimney. But he actually calls Scrooge out by his actual name during that time. And he calls the other two, the woman and I think the other guy's name was Gingerbread. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. They got these crazy names: Sugar Plum and Gingerbread and Candy Cane. Yeah. Gingerbread was the Andre Erickson, and Candy Cane was the other young lady. So Candy Cane and Gingerbread. But yeah, he kind of goes through their Christmas history and kind of gives them a breakdown of when they stopped believing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of it gives you that trope, like, hey, I remember all these times, and I remember, hell, he probably remembers what he brought him and all that stuff. And so, and at that point in time, they're asking, like, well, how do you know this? It's like, Christmas magic. It's that same explanation. Christmas magic. That's all I know. That's the whole premise. So we move back. Santa gets a sledgehammer, and he just begins to just beat the dog shit out of people. All right. Gruesome killings. We had a few killings with the ice skates. He cuts a guy's head off, slits some throats, stabs some people, and then we got the one of his last kills where he tucks a grenade down in his britches, and he goes to walk off, and he says, "Man, I gotta look." I thought that was a great line.
It was fantastic.
You're running away as it turned. Man, I gotta watch, man. As the guy blows up. So pretty much he has taken out all the henchmen, except for the leader of the kill squad and for Scrooge at that point in time. Now, come to find out that Jason, which is Gertrude's son, has actually stolen the money and hid it. And his present to his mom was a card telling her that he stole the money. So that lets you know what kind of family you got here. And so his whole plan was to steal the money and actually go run off with Linda and Trudy and, live his life separate of the family business. Mm-hmm. That was his whole premise there. So he probably went about it the wrong way. Maybe just ask your mom for some more time off. Maybe that'll work. That'd probably be a little bit better than just going and stealing $300 million. But hey,
or you create like a foam insert and you gut all the money out of the middle, and then you just pile a little bit of money around, and so it looks like the money's there. You could get away with that for probably years because they probably don't touch that. That's the stash.
Corey putting y'all on some game right here, okay? Corey putting y'all on some game around here. So he actually came out, and the thing is that his mother read that early because she was supposed to read it later on. He was going to already be gone, but the psychopath that was in there with him was like, "Hey, let's open some Christmas presents," and she's like spitting on. This is before Morgan even dies. I think Morgan's was an actual proposal for a movie. It's just like, this sucks. You know what I'm saying? And so that just kind of goes like to the premise of how the mom is. It's like, man, whatever you do, it sucks. It sucks ass. You ain't shit. And I'm just letting you know you ain't shit. All right. But the thing is that when she reads her son's letter and later on she's like, this is the happiest day of my life. You've shown me that you're a true piece of shit just like me. It's just like, hold on a second. The man stole $300 million and it's like, this is what I'm talking about, okay? This is our ruthless bloodline right here. the Lightstone bloodline. This is what I love. But she was in love with that. She was like, man, this is the best Christmas present ever. I know that you stole $300 million from me. I was like, all right, so that lets you know, hey, look, man, Corey, could you perceive that rich families would be weird like that? That's how I would perceive them.
I think they all backstabbing, like trying to get some money, like, yeah.
I think that they would find more happiness in that and a quote unquote traditional gift. Because I mean, what are they gonna buy each other? I mean, to be honest, I mean you just buy everything all year.
Yeah, that's when you like draw them a picture.
Yeah,
or like paint them something.
How good your drawing?
I can make some stick figures.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. You might want to skip on that. You might want to skip on that drawing. So Scrooge, he threatens to shoot Linda. He's like, okay, so I know the way the Lightstones are, they wouldn't tell an outsider. So how about this? How about I shoot your wife if you don't tell me where the money is? Jason breaks down and says, hey, I stole it. And he takes him right to where it's at, which I thought maybe it was already off the premises. Man, he had the shit stashed right outside.
Mm-hmm.
In the manger. I was like, well, damn, bud. How are you going to extract this money?
Hey, he obviously was doing it one step at a time.
Man, somebody going to see you taking it, man. You got $300 million. It ain't like it's one bag. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like you, oh, yeah, I'm running away with one bag. It's, no, dog. Like a small duffel bag. I mean, this was like multiple bags, big bags. And they get into a little bit of a shootout right there. As far as with Jason, with Linda, Scrooge, they're trying to do their getaway as they've grabbed a few bags of the cash. And as Santa comes up, it's just kind of weird just seeing Santa comes up to beat him to death with a sledgehammer. It's just like it's so against the whole trope, which is it's kind of funny. We're going to be covering two movies that are against the whole purpose of Santa, like altogether.
Well, Krampus is great. You're going to love it if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I'm going to. As we're going to need to cover that this
You're
week.
going to find a lot of similarities between Krampus and Violent Night. Many similarities.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we're moving the plot along. Of course, we get down to the final scene, the final battle, and you know that one battle that when we were watching what we were watching. Oh, we were doing a review on She-Hulk, and it's like, well, you know, everything's got to come down to a final battle. Yeah, it's a movie. I mean, it's got to come down to a finale. I mean, of course it does. And so we see the Gertrude, her kill agent actually kidnaps her, but he gets knocked off of his jet ski. And you see a gun fall beside Gertrude, so you're like, okay, she's going to use that at some point in time. Obviously, we've got some foreshadowing right there. That's what we want to call it. And then we have our final battle between Scrooge and Santa. And I think it's a fitting final battle between the Scrooge and Santa. Of course, Santa comes out at the end, but not with sustaining some injuries. Scrooge gave him a run for his money. And one of the main things, Scrooge had the spikes on his feet, and they were actually on ice. So that gave him a whole lot of the advantage during that particular battle. But Santa actually killed Scrooge by taking him up a chimney, which happened to be outside. I wasn't sure. At that point in time, I was like, oh, damn, is Gertrude going to come up and shoot him? Because I was seeing the foreshadowing with the gun. I was like, well, damn, is Scrooge going to come up and save the day? Then all of a sudden, you know, he has the spike that they actually stick into the ice when they're climbing. He slams it through Santa's hand, and then Santa rips his hand out, and then he taps his nose, grabs him, and pulls him up the chimney, and pretty much like pulverizes. I mean,
it was fitting. I was like, it was very fitting.
Yeah, it was, and the amount of look, this movie is not short on gruesome deaths. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is not a kid-friendly movie, okay? I mean, this. If you're like, man, let me take my 6-year-old out here to watch this. This ain't a kid-friendly movie. There is a lot of cussing. There's a lot of gruesome deaths. So this isn't like, you know, your family-friendly movie. So just people be warned, okay? Whenever you see this. But at that point in time, you're like, okay, Santa is victorious, and then he gets shot about 5 times by the kill agent, the agent of death.
Yeah, but you know, you would think that Santa is immortal, right? I always thought Santa would be like invincible. I was surprised to see in this that he would get, you know, he took somewhat of a beating.
Yeah. I mean, he was bleeding. He actually had a moment where he stitched himself up when he was cut on the side. And at that point in time, you knew something was going on because you've seen all the tattoos on him. You're like, the hell's Santa doing with a bunch of tattoos? You know, and that goes back to his Nordic fighting days. But you still kind of want some background on that. You know, it would be great. A prequel showing how he became Santa. A prequel. Showing how he became Santa. And maybe just like taking him through like his Nordic days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know, I get the feeling this is a one-off. I get the feeling that this got done when it was supposed to do. The point was made. They're going to make some money, and everybody had a good time. And I don't see a need to beat a dead horse.
Hey, look. If they make just a little bit too much money, you know how these people are producing stuff. They're like, hey, maybe I can make some more. Maybe I can make some more.
A Santa origin film from this perspective could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it could be interesting. You could even do it like a, like a straight to Netflix or something like that. You wouldn't even have to do it at a theater. You could do it straight to Netflix. But yeah, he gets shot. And at the moment where my man's about to apply the final bullet to the brain of Santa, Gertrude comes up and she drops her own kill agent. Okay. The agent of death. And so that's the end of him. Now, at that point in time, Santa's sitting there bleeding out. They say, hey, we're going to get him by the fire. So they decide to burn up $500,000. Which, Corey, getting somebody by the fire ain't going to help them when they got 6 bullet holes in them.
No, they can fucking die if you're going to burn that money. Fuck that.
That's what the daughter said, Alva. She's like, are you going to burn the money? Don't do that. I mean, there's not anything else out here to burn. But I was sitting there, I was like, oh, we need to get him warm. I'm like, the man didn't fall into the water. He got 6 bullet holes in him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, he ain't dying of hypothermia. He dying of bullet holes. So, hey, I mean, you know, nursing ain't in their background, okay? Being a doctor ain't in their background, so I ain't gonna hate on them too much for that. But he passes, but then he comes back to life, as they say that they believe in Santa Claus. So that's the Christmas magic, because he comes back and he's like, "How am I alive?" I mean, it's that whole trope. He's like, I've got no clue actually how and why I'm doing this, to be honest. I mean, throughout this whole movie, I really don't know. I just kind of stumbled into this.
Mm-hmm.
And so their belief in him actually brings him back to life at that point in time. And then it's pretty much happily ever after, all right?
Mm-hmm.
The parents get back together, which was an underlying theme, because that's what Trudy had actually asked Santa for Christmas. So she actually got her Christmas present actually came true, with her mom and her father getting back together. Now Gertrude and Alva and all them, I don't know what they got. They didn't get anything. They didn't get anything at all. They're short about $500,000 because it was burnt. So beyond that, they got their other $290-something million. So, so I guess they're all right. So the main premise of the movie, which Trudy was a main driving force of Santa staying around, was her getting her mother and her father back together. So that actually ended up coming true. The reindeer returned with the backup sack as far as for presents from the North Pole. So when they left, they're like, shit, we probably better get another sack. I don't know how they need to do that. But yeah. Yeah, so that pretty much wrapped up the movie. And so, Corey, thoughts on this particular flick overall?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was, I hate to say it like this, but it was mindless entertainment. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It wasn't all super complicated. It wasn't some Avenger twist story plotline garbage. It was very straightforward, and I'm probably going to end up seeing it again. I'm going to give it a solid 7.5 out of 10 cubes.
Okay. I was 7. I was 7 out of 10. The way I explained it is pretty much the way it went, guys. I mean, this is like to a T. Like they're like, you really ain't gonna be missing any dialogue in between. Scrooge cusses a lot. He does cuss a lot. Gertrude cusses a lot. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. There's not really a ton of talking throughout this film, as far as what I would say, intellectual dialogue in between characters. You don't really have a whole lot of that in this film. They just go off of I would say classic 80s and 90s film?
Most certainly.
Would that be?
100%.
And it even had, even though there were this was a more gruesome, even with Trudy, it had that Home Alone feel. So I think they went really into that that aspect of it because, you know, that family was well to do. People breaking into the house. Of course, you know, it wasn't the Home Alone films. Nobody's getting killed. But it kind of took that kind of concept of it. And I kind of seen how they were like, all right, so how could we do a concept of a Home Alone film and rework it in some way? Could you agree with that?
Yeah, I can see that. It seemed like kind of they kind of pulled ideas from a couple different movies, it seems, but they did a good job.
Yep. So, guys, this is definitely worth a watch. Violent Night. As I described it here, if you go watch it, you'll be like, yep, that's the movie right there, to a T. You know, you have your action in between that. So yeah, me and Corey both enjoyed it. IMDb has this rated, Corey. 15,000 people have rated it. It's 7.1 out of 10. So enjoyable.
Not
enjoyable
bad.
across the board. So that's the Violent Night, guys. If y'all go check it out, let us know what y'all think about it. I think you'll enjoy it. Corey believes so as well. This is one of those where you don't have to turn your thinking cap on. M. Night Shyamalan's not coming out to give you some crazy twist you got to be looking out for. And Santa Claus really has no clue how he's able to do what he does. So it really don't tell you how he's able to do what he does or how he even became that. So you just kind of have to roll with what we got here. But yeah, very enjoyable film. You got anything else for the people out there, Corey?
Nope. Just, you know, if you're kind of pissed off at movies and haven't been going, this is one to check out.
Most definitely. So we're going to catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. The next one, we should have 2 more before the holidays. We're going to have our Krampus one. And then I think we want to do one where we just briefly talk about where we think the DC universe, the collapse of it, and where we think it could be going. Okay. Because it's collapsed. So yeah, we're going to have those 2 episodes coming out for y'all, hopefully before the holidays, for Christmas. That way y'all can partake in that. And we appreciate everybody for checking us out. So from your boy SQ420, co-host Corey Hughes, we will catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.